Okay, perfect. Today, school for English as ESOL, reading and part A and part B. So I noticed that a lot of you turned in work over yesterday and over the night. So good job for you. I'm trying to grade them as fast as I can. I did a lot of grading this morning. So you should have your grade and a comment. I usually try and comment on every single work that you do. And sometimes even if it's good job or excellent, it's still, I want you to know that I see your work. But also, just in case there's something that maybe you didn't understand or was confusing, I try and make sure that I put a note there. So if you can have time to fix it, or if you have a question, we can always make an appointment or meet during our conference time if that comes up. For the most part, everything is looking really good. I think there were only just a couple of works that needed a little bit of revision or editing or something wasn't quite clear, but that's really awesome. So you all are proving to be really good students. Like I knew you would, so I am not surprised. Let's see. If you notice this morning, I added a few more assignments into our week 1 blue folder. And that's going to keep happening each week. So we'll start with a few assignments, and then each day we're going to add a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. So it is a good idea to use the second period, fourth period to start doing that work. So that way you have the opportunity to ask questions, and that way Friday at 11:30 you're not, oh my gosh, you're not panicking trying to finish 20 different pieces of homework. So it's a good idea to start each day, and then you work and work and work a little by little. Okay, one thing I did notice, and I'll share my screen. Those of you who did a good job, I'm going to show your examples. So for the vocabulary introduction, everybody did a really good job. And we that were done on, see, I make comments right here. We have it done on Word, and we still have all of those categories. We did the part of speech, definition in English, in Spanish, synonyms, which of course means that they mean the same thing. They are similar. Antonyms, meaning the opposite. They are the other way to express the word. And examples, notes, images. Let's look at a couple others. We'll look at that. So like Ingrid, I left you a note. We'll go ahead and talk about that later. And you can always see if you do two, oops. If you do two documents or you make a mistake, you can always put it again. I always see that there are one or two here, so that's not a problem. And even if you write me a comment, oh, Miss Molinat, I forgot this part or this was wrong, that's totally fine. So here we have it in Word again with a highlight and the notes and pictures. Good job. We have the same thing. These were really good examples. A lot of you found the target practice as a sign for accuracy. That was really good. So for example, we had that, and then somebody even did it in a notebook. If you have your paper or a notebook at home, you are more than welcome to do that. You can just take a picture and send it, and that counts as sending your work to me. So I wanted to make sure you all knew about that, and that we have different ways that you can send things. So hopefully, no matter what, you always have the opportunity to send your work in to me. Okay, let's go back to the meeting. Any questions so far? You can unmute or you can go to the pod to the chat. If you do later, you can always ask. I'm going to share again. this. So for Duolingo, I have a classroom. Oops. So right now I see Eileen, Alejandra, Berenice, Brian, Ingrid, Juan, Pilar, and Valeria. So right now those of you are in the classroom and you use that code that's available in your blue folder. No, that's not the blue folder. That one is in your red folder. Excuse me, I made an error. Yes, the red folder, things you need for class. So now you can always check your reminders. You can see in your calendar what things are coming up. I don't know if any of you knew we have a calendar feature in Schoology. So we have all of these things that are going to be due, obviously, on Friday. So then you can start seeing, let's look at Friday. And you can always click on things to see. Friday. Yeah, so already Friday at 11:59, we have all of those things that are already due. So let's see. And for your Duolingo practice, what you can do is you can complete it. Good morning. You can complete it, and then I see here on the assignments if somebody completes it or is still working on it or misses the assignment. So I can see it here, and I'll still put a grade in the grade book in Teams. And if you want to, you can maybe do a screenshot. That's where you click Command, Shift, and the number 3. So you go Command, Shift, number 3 on your keyboard, and it takes a picture when you make that 100-point goal. So that can be there for you as well. Okay. And I'm not sure if I let you know, but I'm recording the meeting right now. So if you have questions or if you want to watch it again later, I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast. I'm out of practice with my teacher voice. Then you can go ahead and watch it later on my YouTube channel. I already posted the one from yesterday on there. So if you had a question from yesterday or wanted to see something again, you can always look at that too. I think I saw this morning, 9 people had already watched it. So that's a good thing. Okay, so it's Duolingo. Okay, so for this morning, we still have a few minutes. For this morning, what we're going to do an icebreaker discussion. So I'm going to explain it. And then if you want to work on it live while I'm talking, you can do that too. Or if you want to wait and think about and take pictures of the thing we're going to talk about, that will be a wonderful idea. And then after that, we're going to talk about the Marshmallow Challenge. And that is about teamwork and thinking and collaborating together on something. And we're going to start with the Marshmallow Challenge right now during first period. And we're going to finish talking about it in third period at 1 p.m. So if for any reason, you have another class at 1 or something goes on, again, I'm going to record it and put it onto YouTube. And you can always check in with me on messages, email, remind. So if you have questions, and then we can even do a face-to-face video chat if that comes up. So let's start with our icebreaker. So obviously this icebreaker is a little bit different because normally in class all together, we say, okay, turn to your partner and introduce yourself, or go in a little group and make friends. We can't quite do that, but we do have this function, this feature in Schoology. It's called a discussion board. So hopefully you have seen it before in another class. If you haven't, this is a discussion board. So what happens is you write a comment and someone else can comment or like it, just like Facebook or other social media, social networks. You do have to use good manners. You have to be respectful of what other people say. If I see something that is inappropriate or not good comportment, I will let you know, and I'll give you a warning. If something else happens, then I will go ahead and talk to the counselors or the assistant principals to see if you really do need this class, and maybe we'll take you out. So we always want to have respect, and it's interesting to see what other people say. So that is something very important, and that respect is true for everything that we do online because we're not in the same room. Let me give you an example of another discussion board because it's kind of cool to see how many different people can get onto one. So I'm also teaching another summer class. It's kind of like a camp. Let's see. So here I have another example of a discussion. So I started it just like the one for your class. And then the users started posting, and then I can reply and they can reply back all the way down. So we have the post, comment, thread, all the way down. So this one started a little while ago, so there's quite a few. And it's kind of interesting to kind of get a conversation going while we're in Schoolaging. And that's the whole purpose of this. So what we're going to do is called a show and tell. So obviously you're going to show, to present something, and then you're going to talk about it. So some of you probably are users of TikTok. And because of all of you, I started watching videos. So now I'm a little bit addicted to it. So thank you very much. So what this particular audio clip is, it's people are sharing like things that are fun, interesting, kind of rare or weird things that are in their houses or apartments. And maybe you think this is normal, and then you have a friend over like back in the day or hopefully in the future, and they're like, oh wow, what's this thing? Or tell me more about it. So it's your opportunity to look at where you live with a critical eye to see, well, you know, what is different about my house? Or maybe we have an object or a funny chair or a cool picture, window, I'm not sure. So what you're going to do is you can take a picture and or you can also describe. I think it's going to be a really good opportunity to practice describing things. You know, using your adjectives, location. Oh, this picture is on top of the cabinet, inside this room, or something like that. And if you feel like, oh, there isn't anything that interesting, I understand. Maybe outside your house, or maybe there's something interesting in your neighbor's yard or your neighborhood. So this is your opportunity to be creative. So your instructions are create a post. So you're going to write something, you know, here. And then you have to do at least one comment on another student's post. So just like here, I commented on this person's post, and then I did a comment. So that would give me full credit. This person had a post, another person commented. So we're having that interaction. And that's how you earn your full credit. So I kind of did the math for you here. So a post plus one comment equals 100 full points. If you just make a post but you don't read another person's comment, that's half points. And if you do not do a post and you only do a comment, that's 50 points as well. So we really want to make sure that you are giving information and that later you are looking through and giving good comments to somebody. Now also, it's not just like, oh, cool, or wow, that's neat. A full sentence, something, oh, that's so interesting. Can you tell me more about the history of that object? Or I really like that. I wish I had that in my house too. For example, blah, blah, blah. If any of you are my former students, you know that I love the question why. So ask that question to everybody. Why is that interesting? Why do you have it? Why did you decide to share that? So all of those why questions really help continue our conversation in this discussion board. I gave you a clip to listen to. I hope you can hear it. And it might sound familiar once you.
Everybody has that one thing in their house that everybody thinks is so cool. Could be a hidden cabinet, little movie room, but ours is this.
So when you say, oh, our interesting thing in the house is this thing. So that's kind of the idea that you're going to give that example. If you do a post and maybe you do a TikTok, add the TikTok video to your post or a link or something. If you take a regular video with your cell phone, that's fine too. Or a picture, or if you just want to describe it with text, that's fine. I want you to kind of take a little bit of energy to be creative with this because it's kind of interesting. Let me see, the clip, post. And maybe you have to wait until tomorrow. Maybe only one person posts today. And then you think about it and just take a look. So that way you can see and comment on different people's posts. Of course, this is due on Friday at 11:59. So once we start second period, this would be a really good opportunity for you to start on this. We're going to continue, like I said, with the marshmallow challenge during third period. And so third period, maybe you can do your marshmallow challenge homework for that time as well. Okay, I'm gonna pause. Okay, looking at the chat. Any questions in the chat or that you want to ask about the discussion posts? Okay. So the next thing we're going to move on, and remember, if later you think of a question, sometimes you get a lot of information, you can ask later. If you look at the chat, I did put our Duolingo code. So if you need to still do that, go ahead and make sure during second period or lunch or third period, excuse me, fourth period, you go ahead and take care of that. Meeting. Share web browser. Nope. So going to our week 1 folder. We also have our marshmallow challenge assignment. So right now we're going to go ahead and watch the video. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. I'll look at the video is finished. And then I'll explain the web page in a little. So normally we would be in class and we would actually try the marshmallow challenge together. I would bring marshmallows, I would bring pasta, the tape, the string, and then we would actually do it. But unfortunately, we can't. But we can still learn a lot from this challenge about working as a team. So that's a big thing that I want you to start thinking about, like working on it with a team and what that means, what it looks like, how you have to work with other people or not. Sometimes we have the opposite. We have a little bit of tension, and then sometimes it works really well together. An idea to think about, how would you make the structure? What ideas for the construction do you have in mind? And also, whenever you have a challenge like this, where it's physical or even mental, like when we are in school, you have to try things. So you have to try something and it doesn't work. And you ask, why? Why doesn't this work? and then you try again. Maybe you change one aspect of your challenge, and then, oh, okay, that, let me try again, and then something else fails. And that's okay, because our failure, it tells us that something isn't working. So then we can change something and improve and make it a little bit better. You have a link for the video. We're going to watch it in a few minutes or in a few seconds. But I want you to think about these questions, because we're going to use the video to answer these questions. And I always want you to use complete sentences. So what are the rules of the challenge? You can use that question to help you with your answer. You can say, the rules of the challenge are, and you put your list together. So already that is a complete sentence. Who are the worst people when it comes to having uh-oh moments in the challenge? Why? Again, you can say the worst people to have uh-oh moments in the challenge are, complete your sentence, and then with a why, you can say because this reason, this reason, this reason. And being very complete with our answers now will help us later in our session when we start writing more paragraphs and essays. So this is your chance, your opportunity to start now to think in really complete thoughts and to share those complete thoughts with me. Because I know all of you are very smart and you can do that, but if I don't see it, I can't know what you're thinking. So why do kindergartners, so those are children aged 4 to 5, have success with the challenge? So that's something interesting to think about. That maybe is surprising. You can give examples. So kindergartners have success with this challenge because, you can give your examples. Question number 4. What happened when groups were offered $10,000 as a prize? Think about $10,000, how much money that is. That's a lot of money. So does that help? Does it hurt their challenge? We'll find out. What does the marshmallow challenge help us to identify? The presenter talks about different things that help us to identify within ourselves and when we work with other people. You can say the marshmallow challenge helps us to identify. There's your answer. And number 6, what does the challenge, oh, I need to edit that, experience provide? How are those things useful for students? Sorry, I misspelled experience. So the experience provides us with, or provide people with, and how are those things useful? These things are useful for students because, and you give your reasons. And of course, if you have a little bit different way of answering, that's okay. You can always use your question in your answer, and that's always really helpful. Also, if you happen to have spaghetti, marshmallows in your house, the malvaviscos, you can try it. You can try your own version at home, and I gave you the notes, the rules. So the challenge has different rules, and maybe you can try it with your brothers and sisters or cousins if they are social distancing with you, and it might be fun to try, especially that you have more free time. And if you do it, I would really appreciate if you would share the experience. Maybe you take notes, or you have a video, or you just have the audio recording, and you can add it to your answers for here. I think that would be a very interesting thing to share with all of us. Let me check the chat, see if anybody. Any questions so I can hear them, or not yet? Okay. So let us look at the rules for the marshmallow challenge. So the marshmallow challenge is a remarkably fun an instructive design exercise that encourages teams to experience simple but profound lessons in collaboration, innovation, and creativity. So the task, in 18 minutes, teams must build the tallest freestanding structure. So that means there's nothing around it to help it stay up. It's all marshmallows, spaghetti, string, and tape. Make the tallest freestanding structure out of 20 sticks of spaghetti, 1 arm's length of tape. So this much tape is a meter from your nose to your finger is usually 1 meter. 1 arm's length of string, same thing with the string. 1 marshmallow, and the marshmallow needs to be on top. So that means the structure has to be strong enough to hold one little teeny marshmallow. But if you only have spaghetti and tape, it can fall. Here are some of the goals to build the tallest structure. So if you have different people or different teams, the one who wins is the one that has the tallest structure from the tabletop up. Marshmallow, you can't eat the marshmallow, no snacks. You have to put the entire marshmallow on top, and it's usually the big ones, not the little ones for hot chocolate, but the big ones. You can use whatever materials you have, as long as those are the challenge materials. And you can break the spaghetti, you can cut the tape, you can cut the string, whatever. And the challenge, you have to do everything, the planning, the trying, the failing, everything is in 18 minutes. So just a little bit less than 20 minutes. Challenge, the rules are here for you here. You can always click view, or you can download by clicking the link. But for right now, while we still have time, we're going to watch the video. A good thing about this website is
structure to buckle and to collapse.
Oh, so a good thing about this TED website is everything the says is available here. So if you're not sure what a word means or it's a new vocabulary word for you, add it to your notebook. And you can also get the transcript all the way down. And the transcripts are available in different languages. So maybe you want to watch it first in English, then a second time with the transcript in Spanish, and then maybe look at the transcript in English again. So you have a lot of different ways to see different versions of your languages. So you have that option as well. And we also have the closed captions, the subtitles are available here. So for today, I'm going to put the captions.
And the idea is pretty simple. Teams of 4 have to build the tallest freestanding structure out of 20 sticks of spaghetti, 1 yard of tape, 1 yard of string, and a marshmallow. The marshmallow has to be on top. And though it seems really simple, it's actually pretty hard because it forces people to collaborate very quickly. And so I thought this was an interesting idea, and I incorporated it into a design workshop, and it was a huge success. And since then, I've conducted about 70 design workshops across the world with students and designers and architects, even the CTOs of the Fortune 50. And there's something about this exercise that reveals very deep lessons about the nature of collaboration, and I'd like to share some of them with you. So normally, most people begin by orienting themselves to the task. They talk about it, they figure out what it's going to look like, they jockey for power, then they spend some time planning, organizing, they sketch in, they lay out spaghetti. They spend the majority of their time assembling the sticks into ever-growing structures, and then finally, just as they're running out of time, someone takes out the marshmallow, and then they gingerly put it on top, and they stand back and ta-da! They admire their work. But what really happens most of the time is that the ta-da turns into an uh-oh, because the weight of the marshmallow causes the entire structure to buckle and to collapse. There are a number of people who have a lot more uh-oh moments than others. And among the worst are recent graduates of business school. It's amazing. They lie, they cheat, they get distracted, and they produce really lame structures. And of course, there's teams that have a lot more ta-da structures. And among the best are recent graduates of kindergarten. And it's pretty amazing, as Peter tells us. Not only do they produce the tallest structures, the most interesting structures of them all. So the question you want to ask is, how come? Why? What is it about them? And Peter likes to say that none of the kids spend any time trying to be CEO of Spaghetti Inc., right? They don't spend time jockeying for power. But there's another reason as well. And the reason is that business students are trained to find this single right plan. Right? And then they execute on it. And then what happens is when they put the marshmallow on top, they run out of time. And what happens? It's a crisis. Sound familiar, right? Okay. What kindergartners do differently is that they start with the marshmallow and they build prototypes, always keeping marshmallow on top. So they have multiple times to fix and build prototypes along the way. So designers recognize this type of collaboration as the essence of the iterative process. And with each version, kids get instant feedback about what works and what doesn't work. So the capacity to play and prototype is really essential. But let's look at how different teams perform. So the average for most people is around 20 inches. Business school students, about half of that. Lawyers, a little better, but not much better than that. Kindergartens, better than most adults. Who does the very best? Architects and engineers, thankfully. And 39 inches is the tallest structure I've seen. And why is it? Because they understand triangles and self-reinforcing geometrical patterns are the key to building self-reinforced stable structures. So CEOs, a little bit better than average, but here's where it gets interesting. You put an executive admin on the team, they get significantly better. It's incredible. You know, you look around, you go, oh, that team's going to win. Just tell beforehand. And why is that? Because they have special skills of facilitation. They manage the process. They understand the process. And any team who manages and pays a close attention to work will significantly improve the team's performance. Specialized skills and facilitation skills, the combination leads to strong success. If you have 10 teams that typically perform, you'll get maybe 6 or so that have standing structures. And I tried something interesting. I thought, let's up the ante once. So I offered a $10,000 prize of software to the winning team. So what do you think happened to these design students? What was the result? Here's what happened. Not one team had a standing structure. Not one had, if anyone had built, say, a 1-inch structure, they'd have taken them the prize. So isn't it interesting that high stakes have a strong impact? We did the exercise again with the same students. What do you think happened then? So now they understand the value of prototyping. So the same team went from being the very worst to being among the very best. They produced the top structures in the least amount of time. So there's deep lessons for us about the nature of incentives and success. So you might ask, why would anyone actually spend time running a marshmallow challenge? And the reason is I help create digital tools and processes to help teams build cars and video games and visual effects. And what the Marshmallow Challenge does is it helps them identify the hidden assumptions. Because frankly, every project has its own marshmallow, doesn't it? The challenge provides a shared experience, a common language, a common stance to build the right prototype. And so this is the value of the experience of this so simple exercise. And those of you who are interested may want to go to marshmallowchallenge.com. It's a blog that you can look at how to build the marshmallows. There's step-by-step instructions on this. There are crazy examples from around the world of how people tweak and adjust the system. There's world records that are on this as well. And the fundamental lesson, I believe, is that design truly is a contact sport. It demands that we bring all of our senses to the task and that we apply the very best of our thinking, our feeling, and our doing to the challenge that we have at hand. And sometimes a little prototype of this experience is all that it takes to turn us from an uh-oh moment to a ta-da moment, and that can make a big difference. Thank you very much.
Okay, so obviously this man talks very fast. I don't know if you noticed there's a little box with a timer on it, so he has to share all of this information in a very short amount of time. So we're going to talk about this video with the discussion during third period. So of course come back. If not, you can watch the discussion later. But I just wanted to give you the video in one piece so that way you have kind of an understanding of what is happening and why he was talking about this particular challenge. Let's see. And so already you can start thinking about the questions I asked before this happened. So what are the rules? Who are the worst people when it comes to having those uh-oh moments, those failures? Why do the little children, kindergartners, have success? What happened when the groups were offered this big prize money? What does the challenge help us to figure out, to identify? And what does the experience provide? How are these things useful to you? So how does a challenge like this help you to learn about yourself, about others, about working with the team? All of those things are very useful in your life as a student. Okay, we only have a few more minutes. So I do want to go ahead and stop sharing, if I can figure it out. Okay. Any questions, comments, things that you found interesting?